Welcome to the QB Chronicles, an SMU football podcast with Garrett Gilbert and Kyle Padron. Join former SMU quarterbacks Garrett and Kyle as they break down each week's game, offering insights from their own experiences on the field. In addition to game analysis, we'll also bring you special episodes featuring interviews with past and present SMU players, sharing their stories and perspectives. Whether you're a diehard Mustang fan or just love football, this podcast is your go-to source for all things SMU football. Pony up.
Welcome back to the QB Chronicles, presented by the 1911 Group. We're back to break down SMU Clemson. The Ponies went on the road to Death Valley and beat the Clemson Tigers 35-24. We improved to 5-2 on the year and remain undefeated in ACC regular season play. GG, what's up?
What's going on? That was a fun one,
man. That was a good one.
That was a fun one. It was not always pretty, certainly, but that was a very good win. I was impressed. I thought I was at a luncheon last week with Mr. Damon Evans, our AD.
Big time.
What's that?
So I saw that big time.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of talk about playing our most complete game, and I think we finally – for the most part, did that. I mean, there was, Kevin getting hurt. I think Kevin getting hurt early led to that game being a little closer than it potentially could have or should have. I mean, I think he played he was hindered, and I think he probably played his least efficient game. He toughed it out and made some big runs when we needed him. But I think we could have blown him out. So all in all, a very good win. I was proud and thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's on the road in conference. I had June in my ear here. Those are big wins in a big time setting like that with the experience we had in Charlotte last year and knowing that game was winnable as well. Good to get the rematch and take a W on the road in conference and beat a Clemson Tiger team that, by record is struggling this year. Obviously, they lost their quarterback this week as well. But not going to take away from our guys. They, did the job they were supposed to do and go win a game and improve your odds to win the conference, play for another conference championship. They handled business up in Clemson, and they have still everything out in front of them, like we talked about all season long, even after the two hiccups early on in non-conference play, but still a lot of positive momentum working through the ACC play here.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's kind of like you hit the nail on the head there. It's 2-2 going into conference. Don't really know what's going on. All of a sudden now SMU's won 3 in a row and has a little bit of momentum. And again, obviously I certainly don't expect this to last forever and ever, but I've never lost a game in the regular season in the ACC. So just got to keep stacking bricks. And
2 years ago.
It's been, again, it was a very good win for them. Kind of diving into some of the numbers and a little bit of breakdown. I was really pleased. I think going into the game, what did we say? We had to win the line of scrimmage, right? And, we sort of thought it was going to be Klubnik. Didn't really know who we were going to see at quarterback. But overall, I thought we dominated the line of scrimmage. I think Clemson averaged 1.2 yards per rush. I think that's pretty good. We basically eliminated their run game, turned them into a pass-only offense, and a new quarterback was made to feel a little bit uneasy in the pocket. He still made some decent throws, made some nice plays down the field, but we did a great job all day making them one-dimensional. We also got a little bit of pressure on the quarterback for the first time this year, it felt like, and made him a little bit uncomfortable sitting back there in the pocket, and he had a hard time for most of the game. Again, credit to that kid for making a few plays, but he had a hard time for most of the game feeling comfortable back in the pocket. And then on the other side of the ball, we committed to the run. It was not always pretty. We started the game off with 2 punts in a row, threw the long touchdown, and then, a few punts more in a row after that. But we got ours when we needed to, and it was like we talked about. We had to be committed to the run, and then we hit the big ones. We hit the Chris Johnson Jr. run. We hit the long touchdown that that McFall had. It was. I thought it was a really well played game in terms of executing the plan that we set out for the team on QB Chronicles.
Yeah, no, exactly. I thought you mentioned Kevin having a less efficient game this week. Still, I mean, put up some good numbers, 290 yards in the air. Completion percentage not as attractive this week, only going 23 of 43, but. Still made the big throws that he needed to, made the big plays when he needed to, as Kevin has done his entire career so far. And then the one interception, which I'll let you kind of break down a little bit. But good to see CJ have another good game. You mentioned McFall's touchdown as well. TJ, couple tough weeks for him, but I think running back room by committee seems to be the plan. And, 139 yards on the ground this week, 5 yards a carry. Those are some good numbers and leads to some of those big plays in the passing game, like you mentioned.
TJ's beating up on folks in the box.
We're very happy to have Jordan back. Big game for Jordan, 7 for 131 and a touchdown. Obviously, getting the scoring going, which we'll touch on in a little bit. Then Hibner finds pay dirt again. Good to see that big fella get back in the end zone.
Heck of a catch he had.
Yeah, great play. And then shout out to the defense. Got club takeaway, had a forced fumble, I believe, and then 4 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. So good complimentary football. And I meant to do this earlier, but our guy Sam Keltner stepped up in a big way, made a 48-yarder, a 51-yarder, went 3 for 3 on the day. And to do that up at Clemson in a different kind of environment than we've played in all year. Shout out to Sam, big game, and really 3 phases of complete football and complimentary football.
Bingo. Yeah, you're exactly right. It was a very, again, well-executed team victory. I thought everybody did their part when called upon. I think the secondary played better. Like I said, the pass rush was better overall. Our linebacker play was solid. We tackled well, and on the offensive side of the ball, did exactly what we needed to pretty much in all 3 phases. I think, on all 3 fronts in terms of offensive line play, quarterback play, and, our backfield play and receiver play. I think some important notes to just be looking at as we go forward would be how do we respond to blitz zero? Because you talked about the Hibner touchdown. Clemson, basically in any situation where it was got to have it, and really as the game went on, more and more and more in regular down and distance situations. So they just went to blitz zero. And there were a couple times that we hit them, and there were a couple times that it felt like we didn't really have a good plan. And I think certainly part of that is they knew that Kevin was a little bit hobbled and couldn't do some of the things that he normally can. So they said, forget it. We're just going to pin our ears back and send everybody. But on the biggest play of the game, you mentioned Jordan Hudson with the obviously the 70-yard touchdown. But on the biggest play of the game, 3rd and 10, about to give Clemson the ball back with, let me check my numbers here. How much time left? 2:24 left. So Clemson's going to get the ball back outside of the 2-minute warning, and I'm pretty sure still have a timeout left. We go double stack. Here comes Clemson with the everybody up, bringing more than we can block, and Kevin to Jordan Hudson to put the game away was a really, really good play in my mind, and a play that had to be made.
Yeah. Love when guys step up in those situations. Let's put the game away. Let's not give them a chance to come back and make this a game. And shout out Kevin and Jordan making those big plays. And hopefully it continues to be a trend. Jordan seems to be getting going, and then Kevin continuing to have success as he has this year and last year. And hopefully at some point that ankle can get healthy. It's unfortunately a tough lingering issue, but hopefully can keep him upright next week going to Wake Forest, and hopefully give him some chance to recover there. Who is your player of the game, GG?
My player of the game was number 2, Jordan Hudson. 7 for 131. I thought he, I wish it showed us how many targets he had, but Kevin was very clearly looking for him all day long.
Very much so, like Jackson Smith and Jigba getting 14, 15 targets, and let's force feed our playmaker here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, you know what? I mean, just to give you a quick little aside, I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and Nick Saban was talking about the first coaching lesson he ever learned. He said, "You may have seen this
the same video.
15 years old, and fourth and goal with the the state championship on the line or whatever, and his coach calls timeout, and Saban was the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. He was calling plays. And so he goes over to the sideline, and his coach, and he says, Coach, what should we call? And his coach puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, well, Nick, you've got the fastest running back in the state here, and you've got the third fastest receiver in the state here. I don't know what you should call, but you should probably give the ball to one of those two. And he was like, that's kind of the gist of it. When the game is on the line, think players, not plays, and find a way to get those guys the ball. And I thought, I think our coaching staff, number one, and then those guys, number two, are coming into their own as far as how do we get McFall the ball? How do we get Jordan Hudson the ball? How do we get Romello the ball? How do we get CJ Jr. the ball? I think those guys are going to be the ones that are going to be our horses as the year goes on. And so, we're halfway through this, and those guys are getting more and more touches, and they're having more and more success because it's just a matter of time before they break one.
Yep. Yeah. I listened to that. I don't know if we have the same algorithm or not, but I saw that video as well, and simplify the game as much as possible. And I think you're exactly right. The coaches are understanding of that game plan, and the players go out and execute on the plan. Padron shot of the game. It's very similar to your player of the game. I think
Padron shot of the game brought to you by Socorro Tequila. Yeah, to cut you off there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's. I think it's got to be KJ to Jordan Hudson, kind of get the scoring going for the afternoon there. But I think again, coaching, all the hours they put in to breaking down film, getting a look that they probably expected by formation and down and distance, and then the guys going out and executing. But KJ to Jordan Hudson on a corner route goes 70 yards to put the Mustangs up 7-0. Yeah.
Just a couple more things. I thought it was kind of a strange game. There was like punt, 70-yard touchdown, punt, 50-yard touchdown for Clemson, punt, explosive play. It was a little hard. It was a little hard for either team to get into an offensive rhythm. So a nice job by our guys, finding a way in the second half. I think we probably didn't score the majority of our drives, but in the second half, we really got some rhythm going where, we were getting points when we needed to. I mean, we started off the third quarter with a couple punts, but go answer a touchdown when Clemson makes it 16-14 right down the field, 4 plays, almost all runs, if I remember correctly. And then Clemson goes back down and gets it to 23-17, and we go right down the field and take it back to a 12-point game. I will say on that touchdown, we got a unsportsmanlike conduct after the penalty, or after the touchdown. And I would love for our kicker to still make that from 38 yards, but it's probably going to be a make for sure.
Yeah.
There's not a huge difference between 12 and 13-point lead, but again, just something that we just can't do as a team. Overall, penalty-wise, we were 5 for 60 in Clemson. Shocker. Every time we play Clemson, they don't get any penalties. They were 2 for 9. So,
but they're averaging 1 a game is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they're averaging 1 for 4.5 in the 2 matchups. So, and then earlier you mentioned the interception. We have a 12-point lead. Kind of an interesting sequence there at the end. We have a 12-point lead, and there's 10 minutes left. The game's not over, certainly, but we go on a nice drive and the game is over. And we run the ball. We throw an incompletion. And then Kevin, I talked a lot about laying those digs in last week against Syracuse or whoever it was, Stanford. We tried that, but I think Kevin was maybe a little late to get back to that right side of the field. And so he tried to stop Jordan a little more because he wasn't sure what was out in front of him. And the ball goes, well behind Jordan and off his hands, and an easy interception. And then Clemson turns it into a touchdown, wherein they convert a 4th and goal from the 17-yard line. Have to do a better job on that on defensively. Like, I get bringing the pressure. but our DBs got to know to go up. And I mean, again, this is all nitpicking because it was a very good game, but you're looking at it, you're looking at what could have been a blowout if not for a couple plays here and there. So I think that's what happened there on the interception. And then, of course, it turned into points. But right after that happens, what do we do? Where is it? Here we go. We go down the field and score. So it's
good response.
There was a few instances where we responded like we needed to.
Yeah. Good lesson for any of our listeners who are still playing quarterback or have young sons playing quarterback. Being late over the middle is never a good thing, and
never late over the middle.
Right on the body.
Yep. We get trying to make a play, but exactly. Never be late over the middle.
Yep. Unfortunately, I made that mistake more than once.
Oh yeah.
But it's part of it. But
learn that lesson the hard way.
Good coach speak there. Right? Yeah. It's part of the game. Let's take a quick look around the country. Really, some great matchups last week. We were, as college football fans, that was a hell of a Saturday, or hell of a weekend rather. I think Louisville played on Friday against number 2 Miami. Goes down to Miami and beats them 24-21. Not sure what that does to our kickoff time. I was hopeful that they'd be undefeated coming to Dallas, but we'll see. I think we've got a 5 or 6 day hold is what I saw on Twitter earlier. So they'll announce that after the 25th of October. A&M, they remain undefeated up to number 3 in the country now. They beat Arkansas 45-42 in another great game.
Held on tight.
Yeah, SEC matchups all weekend. Georgia beat Ole Miss 43-35.
Great
Alabama knocked off Tennessee. What's that?
I said it was a great comeback by Georgia, kind of losing the whole game and fought back and found a way to win.
Yep. Bama knocks off Tennessee and lights up seemingly 100,000 cigars from what I saw.
Yeah.
Arizona State, they hand Texas Tech their first loss, 26-22. Looked like there was some altercation with some of the players and the ASU students. Not smoking cigars. They were smoking a different substance out in Arizona. Vanderbilt knocks off LSU 31-24. Brian Kelly's hot seat gets a little hotter. BYU, they win over Utah 24-21. And then after your boy Dilfer, I believe, gets fired from UAB, they go on to beat number 22 Memphis 31-24.
That one was pretty wild. I can't believe that as I think UAB was 24-point underdogs and went and won straight up. Another crazy ACC game. I don't know if you saw this one. Florida State at Stanford. Stanford won in an absurd ending. Florida State basically completed a Hail Mary with 2 seconds left. Got up there. The refs mistakenly ended the game, so they put 2 seconds back on the clock. Florida State snaps the ball right on the whistle, throws it up into the end zone, incomplete, pass interference, ball's down to the 2, and then Stanford tackles them on a little shovel pass short of the goal line, game over. So speaking of hot seats, Mike Norvell squarely on the hot seat right now.
Yeah, in some trouble. Next week, got a few matchups. What's you run with those?
Yeah. So let's see here. What do we got? Obviously, SMU at Wake. We'll dive into that with a little pat and go preview later on. Vanderbilt with another ranked matchup against Missouri. Vanderbilt 2.5-point favorites. That's Mizzou's going into Nashville. That's going to be a fun one. Is that our only? Oh no, we got Texas A&M, LSU, Texas A&M going into Death Valley, the real Death Valley, as dubbed earlier this year. A&M 2.5-point favorites on the road. That one's going to be interesting with LSU having struggled so much. Those are our only 2 ranked matchups of the weekend. Oh no, I'm sorry, I missed Ole Miss Oklahoma early kick on Saturday. Another interesting one to see if Mateer can get some of that juice going that he had early on in the season again and get Oklahoma back into the conference title and national championship talk.
Yeah, I'll be pulling. I don't know about you, but I'll be pulling for our guy Randall Joyner, defensive line coach at Ole Miss. Want to see them do well and see our boy do really well.
Friend of the show, friend of the program, Randall Joyner.
Yeah, friend of the program. Been on our Letterman series.
That's right.
Yeah, got a good week of football. We will be back with you with the Pat and Go preview for SMU Wake shortly. And we look forward to seeing y'all at Ford November 1st when the Hurricanes from Miami come to town. Till then, pony up.
Pony up.